we've seen over the past 4 or 5 days, you've got to stick to your own technicals. You've got to watch the charts in a certain way, and you've got to have some kind of, not just foresight, but some kind of testicular fortitude to kind of make a decision, roll with it, start to try to tell and try to have a community with you. Not just me, but if you're watching these charts on your own, because we're our own community here and we trade cryptocurrency. I truly believe that, because there's not a lot of people that do it, so there's even fewer who do it right, and then even fewer than that will tell you the truth. So I think in this community, we get something a little bit different here, and every time something like this happens, to where we ride something up, and then we just simply step out of the way a day and a half before the oomph starts, it's like, it never ceases to amaze me, because it ends up being a similar conversation. It ends up being the similar questions. But sometimes, guys, when you step out of the way, don't worry about it after 10%. You're stepping out of the way for a reason, because you're not thinking that this pattern was going to continue in the micro. So if you just thought it was going to be a 10% drop, like I said yesterday or the day before, then, you know, it's one thing. But knowing that this could be a complete pattern reset, you're talking about XRP's down better than 25% in the last 4 or 5 days. You know, IOTA's down a tremendous amount. XDC, when it went up and we rode that rally, I simply said, I'm out when it hit around that 10 cents. But I said, if you want to ride it to 9.7, by all means, 9.7 cents, but you got to sell it after that. I don't care. Like, that's a rising wedge setting up. If it breaks below that point, that's where you can't just keep, you know, you're not trying to give it all back. Like, the whole point of this is we're not trying to give it all back. Now, if you want to look at something, like, literally, now I can show you the updated pattern, and now it doesn't look like it's got as far to drop, but it's certainly, because we're going for pattern resets. So, is this going to come all the way down? Because we know once it starts to happen, it happens at a pretty tremendously fast pace. That's why I said the next 15% will happen a lot quicker than that first 15. And that's what we're starting to see now. And now that this fell out, you know, XRP's technically, it set up a pattern there. And the fact that it broke down, now we might have to back test it here. And we know the CME gap, you know, it might be a little higher than where it was at, right? You know, we might be looking to go up a little bit to start the week just to catch up at some point. But this technically could drop us to like $2. And I like that, the fair value gap at 250. But let's just say this comes up here and gets a rejection. Well, that sends us down. And this would be a technical move. This would send us down to $2.26 and a complete pattern reset from this topping reversal. This doesn't look good to me. When I was on the live earlier, I just said I wouldn't buy anything, and I suggest you don't either. Now we've gone from that $2.92 range, and now XRP's at $2.78. So to put it in perspective, on 10,000 tokens, it dropped another $1,400. You know, just from this morning. And you've got a slew of them across the board. I mean, Ethereum, we were talking about possibly breaking 3,500 earlier, and how if we couldn't get back over, then we could possibly target 3,100 or lower, or below 3,100. And now all of a sudden, you know, we found ourselves right at under 3,400 here, and you know, we're running out of opportunity here. Otherwise, this, and I think that it's going to continue to go down, because I thought we were overbought on the stochastic was one thing, but just the way the patterns were setting up, yeah, it was great that we had these golden crosses that looked like they were back testing in the daily. But when we started looking at the volume portfolio, there was no reason to think they were just going to hold. That was the one thing on the way up that kept becoming a big problem. And like, this is completely reversed this. We come down to the 200 day and it hasn't given it back yet. That's the one thing I want everybody to, it hasn't given it all back yet. Like, these patterns aren't over yet. But how far down, like IOTA did, that golden cross has now been invalidated. It's incredible how fast they did it. It's just, you know, when you start to watch a cycle for year after year after year, and you start watching crypto, you can tell when things aren't right. I said it the whole way up. Like, we can, and I don't want to keep talking in the past since I hate doing it. But just this last thing. We talked about on the way up, if you've been a part of this, enjoy this rally until we can't anymore. But it's going to come sporadically. Like, once I see it, I'm not going to hold my tongue. And I'm also not going to sit through it. You know, unless there's another set plan in place for something further. But These are when I find the biggest opportunity, because instead of having to add 25% more, you know, my BITUNIX portfolio that was 42,000, 100% intact now after these drops. And you're talking about, if I would have been in this for these 25% drops minimum across the board on the most part, you know, you're talking about, that's a significant loss in the portfolio. You know, you're talking about, I'd have lost over 10 grand, if you want to be honest. You know, that's $2,500 per $10,000. So I'd be dealing with a $32,000 portfolio. But yeah, I'd have all my positions. I had big fucking deal. I don't want that. I don't mind a 10% drop. But when it looks like the whole pattern's going to reset, I get afraid. And when I start to get nervous, I err on the side of caution. Because I know I can always buy back. And just listen to this, please. I can always buy back if it rotates up and I'm wrong. And just pay the 5% dumb tax for, not even dumb, but I'm going to take it. I'm going to take the, you know, I'm going to take the safe route here. And if it proves me wrong, by God, it proves me wrong. But if it goes down 25% or 20% or 50% or you can't get that money back unless you sit through it, you buy more, and then it comes back up eventually, or you sit through it and you don't have any more money. But now the first 25 or 30% rally is on the house. Your house, not the house of cards, but it's like you're taking out a loan now. Now I bought something, and now my 10,000 is only worth 7,500 right now. You know, that's a big pill to swallow. I don't know how many people would sit through it. You know, I don't know how many people would sit through it. I really don't. So my agenda here and my goal is to try to keep you away from buying at those moments when that's going to happen. Like, that's a big thing. It really is. But we're not going to talk about that anymore. I want to wish everybody a good evening. It's just, I just want everybody to understand, like, it's more than just, hey, I can, like, everybody thinks the news, this is why we dropped. Oh, we didn't get rate cuts. Oh, you know, the escalation. How about this? Did you ever consider that the charts predict the news? So if you understand the charts, you already know what's going to happen in the world. Like, we knew we weren't getting rate cuts based on how the charts were. We knew there was going to be some kind of escalation based on what gold did. And, like, if you can read the charts, I dare say the charts predict the news, not the news predicts the charts. It's quite the opposite of when people say it's the news that predicts the charts. No. The news is just a made-up storyline. The charts are predicting it with an analytical approach without putting faces or names or countries to the story. You're just seeing it based on fear, greed, and the human conditioning. And it actually tells you at a deeper level because you don't have to deal with emotion. You just look at the chart. I told, you know, that was a big thing that I was trying to, it's fine. I can't keep it talking in the past tense. Let's see. No, the local top signal should have also been when Jim Cramer comes out of the blue, I might add you. And he goes, yeah, I think this is a great time, guys. If you guys are paying attention here, I think this is a great, hey, don't just listen to me, guys. This is really what's going on. I think it's a great time here to buy some Bitcoin, buy some Ethereum, and buy H-bar. Oh, congratulations. The day before it started, or maybe the day of when it finally started to implode. Now you're down 25% on fucking H-bar. Ethereum's dropped like 500 points since he said that. Bitcoin's under 113,000. Now you're like, what the hell is this guy talking about? Bitcoin, and now even if it does go up from here, you've just conditioned yourself in a spot where you're like, I'm never trading this crap again, and Jim Cramer can suck my balls, is what everybody's going to say. But what ends up happening is he usually is right. Not in the moment, but 9 times out of 10, if you go back and look at things, he will tell you to buy something at the exact wrong time, but for the right reason still. He'll give you the hint that, hey, this will do something in the future, but what I'm not telling you is I get paid by these people to make you exit liquidity. So what I talk about on this show, these are all my big investors. Just think of them being invested, right? So he's got a guy who's got a bunch of H-bar, and he says, hey, Jim, you know, if you talk about this and say H-bar is a good time, here's going to be your little payoff. And then he gets X amount of, who knows, maybe they pay him in little Cramers. We don't know what they call them. So then he comes on and says, hey, guys, I got this great project, H-bar. It's got all these blah, blah, blah. Buy it now. But they all know that they're not stupid. Jim Cramer can read a chart. He's been doing it so long that a chart's bit him in the nuts a few times. He knows how to read it. So he can see when a local top develops. And it wasn't that hard to see this one. So If I can see it, if XRP Future Millionaire can see it, I'm sure Jim Cramer can see it with all of his team. Mark Casting, good evening, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. So, you know, understand the crumbs, but then understand it's always a bigger picture. It's always a bigger picture. Steve Parise, welcome in. Crazy Paul, good evening, and thanks for being in Tom's Army with Joseph Euler for over 6 months with the XRP Predictor. And Mark Caston, thank you for that $2 donation before the live even started. And also, like I said, in Tom's Army for over 1 year. And he says, you're great, Tom. I really appreciate that. Appreciate that. He says the best value for the money. Love it. Jesse, welcome in along with Shane, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge and me being abducted by aliens. Today's been fun. It is fun. I had my son's, we celebrated his 6th birthday. We actually had the birthday party finally from his birthday back on July 11th. So it was fun. It's a good day. The market, you know, giving us many things to look at here, which is, I like it. This is the kind of stuff I like, but we're going to go through this. Because, you know, with the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, gap areas work both ways. So when we closed on Friday, we were not at 112,900, you know. So we may melt our way, or actually work our way back up by Monday morning. So this could be a disguised opportunity here. You know, but it might not be the end of the drop. So be careful here. This could be an opportunity. I'm just saying, this could be the opportunity here to bring it back to where it was at. But that doesn't mean they can't just continue the nightmare. So there could be a strategic opportunity where some money starts to move here a little bit. Let's see. Clayton, welcome in. Jay Freemax, good evening. Oliver Marks, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XP Predictor, along with It's All an Illusion. Oliver Marks has reliable Tom. Yes, indeed. And It's All an Illusion says Michael Saylor is a local top signal. Generally, whenever they show that he bought $2, $3, $5, $4 billion in Bitcoin, generally that's what ends up happening. Oh, if you guys are watching too, I usually forget to say this, but if you guys want to see my brother, he's on here. Old Vincenzo. Whoops. And you can go on here. Where's he at? Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing. Some of you watch him, some of you don't. But if you want to see Vincenzo, I don't know why it always shadow bans and stuff on mine. But this is his channel here. So, whoops, I don't want to click on his stuff. I just want you to see it. 2,000 people. Oh, you got over the 2,000 mark. But yeah, some people ask, so there's that there. But Bitcoin right now, we'll see if it continues. We'll see if it continues. Oliver Marks, I appreciate you being in Tom's Army. Calvin, good evening, along with the Fine Group. Thank you both for being in Tom's Army for over 3 months with the XRP Meteor. Calvin Wilson says, first time in 2 days I've gotten an alert for you going live, Tom. That's excellent. It's always good when they do that. See, after the message I was trying to give about these drops, you know, they won't share it, but after it happens, they got no problem. No, but I'm just glad they shared it in all honesty. Let's see. And Define Group, thanks for being a very trusted mod in here and in the Telegram. And he says, hey, everyone, hit that like button. Let's show Tom some love. And also, this week's newsletter is out early for anyone interested after the live. Ooh. So the Sunday newsletter is out already. Give you a sneak peek here. Another reason why you should join the Telegram. I think this is the 3rd one now, the Big House Readers Digest. So, the Big House Readers Digest. Don't waste your money. Things not to buy. Crypto remedies that truly work. Tom's technical analysis. In the jaws of a bear trap, a survivor story. Manage your next bull run. Get your drinks on the house. And then regular reminders, top stories, community highlights, top contribution, new membership, new members, shout outs, Tom's quick tip of the week, and Tom's weekly thoughts. And that's what you go through on here. And I'm not going to read through the whole thing, but, oh, did I not go to the right one? Whoops. What just happened here? What did I just do? Oh, no, it's right here. I did 8:30 p.m. Oh yeah, this is the wow. This is oh yeah, I did pick the right one. I was just making sure. But we got a lot of stuff to talk about. But these are cool to read, so you got to come in here. Nice happy birthday to Julie. But yeah, there's a lot. You know what? I'm not going to read it right now. I'm going to wait. If you guys want to see it, you can be in Tom's Army or you can be in the Telegram and then just go read it. If you're not in the Telegram, you're missing out like the Fine Group said. Yeah, absolutely. Rudy Pooh, welcome in. Josh Ritchie, Jake Cares. Monster Hunt Fishing, welcome in. Dan Marginal, welcome in. Thanks for being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens, along with Jesse. And that is my face superimposed on that emoji badge. Dan Marginal says, wish I pulled out quicker. You're not the first man who said that in his life. I can assure you of that. Jesse, welcome in. Says, come on, guys. You know this man is all about helping us. Hit that like button at least. And I can tell you, you are missing out if you're not in the Telegram for Tom. Nick and every single person. They're all absolutely. Nick does a tremendous job. He does a good job showing you the overall picture, too, so you don't overthink in the smaller moments. So you can kind of look at it from an overall perspective as well. It's a saving grace, I can assure you. Let's see. Tanya, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 2 years with the XRP 589 Moon Badge. Greatly appreciate seeing that. Let's see. My eyes always wandered every comment, so when Tanya just posted her last comment, it's kind of funny. Man. There can be many stories to that one. But let's see. How to find them. Oh, she's talking to them. I'm glad you're watching, Tanya, and I'm glad you're in here. It makes me happy. Crypto Plumber, welcome in. Thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 months with the XP Meteor. And then Tanya said, laugh out loud, that's how I got pregnant. Yep. Happens to the best of them. It's either some of them shoot too quick or some fail to retrieve the duty before. Yeah, we won't go into that. Last time I talked on the erotic side, I got banned, remember? Not banned, but they ended my live immediately. I was just telling some cool stuff, but nobody knows how it goes. You've rutted them away. It's true. It's true. It's kind of like with the market. You know, some fail to pull out and some, it's the same thing. I gotta stop though. JW's over there ripping his freaking hairs out. He's moved on to his chest hairs. He's running out of hairs to pull out of his head. I keep going down the red tape. Good evening. 9:03 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Saturday, August 2nd, 2025. I don't know if I've done this intro before. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. That might be the first or third or fifth time I've said it. I don't even know anymore. All these things kind of merge together at this point. Crawbilly says, good to see you with no cat, brother. Yeah, I should probably, you know, then you can see my big head. You know, I feel sorry for somebody if they tried to headbutt me. Man, I got a hard skull. It would probably hurt. But King Day welcome in. Or Dee Day. I like Day better because of Friday. We'll just call you King Day. Day. Or he's day. No. Well, we're not gonna go there. David Hoff, welcome. It says, love your passion behind all this. Hey, without passion, you know what is there really? The money's only so much. You know, the dollars you make or the friend. It's got to be. It all starts with the passion, though. You know, it's true though, because the cool thing about crypto and charts is that no two setups are the same, even if they look like it. But once you start to recognize, hey, not all in the 4 hourly, not all topping reversals are the same. But, you know, once we realized that was a top, it was pretty easy to recognize that we were in some real shit there for a minute. And now the fact that you could technically say it reset here. This is why here is like the first area. If somehow this was an overzealous pull down, we get back on top of 289, and then get back on top of 306. And get ourselves back on top of 328. Then we're back on the bullish side of town. But you see what's happening right now? You know, see what happened? It's like, now it's if we can get back to here and if we can break past that resistance. And now it's kind of like when you don't have any money and you try to rationalize buying something and you're like, well, if I put it on the credit card and then, you know, maybe I pay for the, you know, the PMI insurance on the house because I technically can't afford where I'm moving, but I do need the house, and I'll sign away the next 35 years and be the bitch to everybody else because, you know, you just guaranteed that you have no life for 35 years, which I'm not saying you don't have a life if you have a house. I'm just saying it's always got to be playing on what's coming next. Well, why do they want me to buy this house when I can't even put 5% down? Why do they want me to take out these higher interest rates? What do you mean I should get this house and you're going to go on 50% of my income? I only want you to base it on 25%, but I guess, you know, you're going to let me buy a house bigger than I thought I could afford. I might as well take it, right? That's the American way. And then that's what we do with our crypto and everything else, and it spirals. So, fundamentals. Fundamentals. Remember when I was talking for some and I would say the 2X, you know, it seems fine and dandy. Hey, I can buy something for half off. You know, on this drop, you're a little nervous now because now you're getting closer to the Mendoza line. You're like 50-something% down on a 2X from these drops. This is where it gets scary. I'm surprised a couple of you got a message for this live. I love it. Defined Group says, perfect, needed to get it out tonight. I have a busy morning tomorrow. Excellent. I look forward to reading it after. I almost started reading it during the live, and then I said, you know, I got to save something for somebody. Got to make sure they want to be in there. If I start reading everything from the Telegram, there's no reason to go. No, that's not true. We got great people in there. Let's see. Tanya drinking her coffee. Now, would you be eating that with a biscuit where you're living, or is that like a croissant or a trinket? I don't know. I'm trying to understand more because when we're here, nobody's fancy. Nobody talks cool. Nope, they just have their coffee and their Tim Hortons donut or whatever. We don't get the cool stuff. Let's see. Then again, I don't eat in the morning anyhow because I fast, so I guess it doesn't matter what people eat for breakfast. What do I care? I think it's cool. Daniel, welcome in and thanks for Daniel Malika. Yeah, Daniel Malika. Thanks for being in town for your second month with Dusty House Crypto News and said, well, I actually got a message about the live stream. Right on. I love it. Love it. I do love it. You are still Canadian, that's true. That is true, Tanya. Coffee and eggs. That sounds like the American way. You just forgot bacon. And I'm not talking that Canadian bacon. No offense, Tanya. Some of the worst tricks ever played on me when I ordered a sandwich when I used to eat breakfast when I was not doing my 16-hour fast. And I would order a bacon biscuit and they'd give me Canadian bacon. I'd be like, what the hell is this? This isn't bacon. The hell it isn't. That's Canadian bacon. I'm like, I don't want Canadian bacon. I want real bacon.
Canadian bacon's ham.
It's what?
It's like a ham.
Yeah, it is like a ham. So in Canada, what do I order? American bacon? Did you say I want the American way, the pig? Well, the ham is still the pig. But anyhow, before I just go off topic, with XRP right now, I think the most logical way to look at this in the short term is, you know, we fell out of this pattern. You would assume after this because now at this point, you could probably back test this. So would I be surprised if we came back to that 289 threshold? No, I think this might be an opportunity for like I'm not doing it. But, you know, I'd rather just watch the market. This isn't where I try to get frisky. Like, you know, you can do some whatever you want to do. And yeah, I acknowledge you could probably make some money here because that looks like a double bottom. And if you're one of those frisky guys and gals, you could put a stop loss underneath here, but do I encourage it? No. Do I think it could pan out to a few percent? Probably about a 70% probability that this could play out for a 3.5% rejection. You know? Or it could be the start of a reversal. Who knows? But it doesn't look good right now. The good news is, though, is it came back down here. So if we're playing off this flag and then this was the start up, well, maybe it did reset down here. You know, it's still a fair area. Fair. We're fair around here, so we're in a fair area. Let's see what this uptrend's looking like from here. That's not as bad as I thought. I don't think that's as bad as I thought. That's only one drop away from this. Huh? What's he doing?
He's in his chair on an option.
He's doing it right now.
He was when I walked in there and he looked at me and smiled and started shaking his head.
I would shut that hallway light off, and then if you want to sit in the room, you can. I know your foot's probably bothering you after the party. That's fine. But this, I mean, if this has any gumption here, this is where it should get a small reversal, or maybe we'll see 3 to 5% here on Saturday. If there's any fortitude here at all, this is where you should get some kind of relief bounce. You know, you really should. Like, I can't see it going much farther without getting a small bounce somewhere. I mean, look at this. This has been pedestrian at best the whole way down. Even here, it felt what we've seen was a bear flag. Now, maybe it builds a smaller version and just falls through. It's possible. I like to kind of layer them out. I mean, this just didn't look good. Now, maybe it does the same thing here. I don't know. If it comes down that next arm, that's like 5 to 7% without even blinking. You know, if it comes down this next way, that would bring you down to about 250. You probably have that 265 in between. I think somebody said it. Like, I think Tanya said a number around there. She was right, because there's a strong support in that area. Yeah, Tanya said 265. Mark Casson said 250. I like those areas. 250 is that fair value gap that was left, and 265 is a real... We had a bounce there before. So it's in the not-so-past history. But you know what I find interesting? Is that XRP technically didn't hit an all-time high on every exchange. Technically, in the USA. Technically, I believe it's on... Was it Coinbase? One of them it didn't hit. One of them it had an all-time high at 385. I don't remember what chart that was. I don't think I used that chart. But I know on one chart, and it's that one that's been around for a while, that it never hit it. Not in any of these charts. Yeah, I might have to go around and look, because I don't remember which chart it was. And I know I don't have the chart on mine. Or maybe it is on mine. No, it's definitely not on mine. But we would have to go all the way back on some of these. But on one of them, it was at 385. So I know at least on one chart, XRP didn't hit an all-time high. But on some of them, you know, they've never even been close to here on some of the charts. So I think it's interesting. But at least, I mean, we came up there close enough, no matter what chart you look at. But I still think it's interesting that there's some out there that it never even hit all-time highs on some of the exchanges. I think it's a little interesting. This would be insane if we didn't get any kind of bounce here. Like, if we don't get a 3 or 4 or 5% move here, it would show how inept we are right now. It's pretty interesting. I got worried when I looked at Telegram and seen your post on Pager X saying evaluate your situation if you're waiting for lows or whatever. Figured that was it. Bottom, I missed it, but no. No. I said that's a good time to start. Well, if you obviously you read the whole thing, but it was a good time to do some technicals to see where you think it's gonna go from there. That was a good gauge. Like, hey, should I buy it here or not? Well, fortunately it's fallen through there by several percent now. I think XRP was around that 280, I don't even know, 284, 285. But I thought it was a good time to evaluate because this pattern was on the verge of breaking down. And for anybody who watched, they could have seen this in real time. And they could have actually had this set up. And it was right about here. I remember when I put that out, it was right around, maybe it was 289. I don't think it broke through this yet. Well, maybe it did. I don't remember because I was doing the party, so I can't remember exactly when I did that. But it was a good time to just see. And like you start messing with it, you're like, hey, there's a short-term uptrend. We got this little pattern. Well, if it breaks through this, well, we got the 250. Well, there's another issue happening. Right now, we're about to fall through the demand zone. And we know how Tom loves that damn demand zone that it's never held. We found back through. Can't even hold discovery. This is turning into a gosh-darn tragedy. Big topping reversal. I mean, it's clear as day now. We had the foresight to realize that's what it was building before this happened completely. But... you know, this if this... I don't want to ruin anybody's Christmas. But, has anybody ever And I know some of you do because you're sitting here and you're in the audience. Some people are leaving. They just can't stomach this. And that's okay. But what if... Is it possible that maybe we had top 1, top 2, and then alt season until September is canceled, and then we start coming down here until the midway point somewhere? Maybe we fill that gap out again and then go. I don't know. I don't know what's going on anymore. Well, I mean, I do, but I don't, because we don't know how low they go. But I've often messed with that scenario. Like, hey, we never filled that $1.50 or $2.50. Maybe, just maybe, when we start to move up, a lot of people will miss it because it's going to move fast. Absolutely. But we should get on a drop like we're having, if it does pan out that way, we should get some kind of double tap. But yeah, there's going to be that point. We're going to get to that point, I think. Oh, IOTA. Yeah, if IOTA got to 9 cents. Now, I don't know if it would be right at 9 cents. But if IOTA dropped out of this and it actually found itself back down here at 9 cents, I said I'd buy the farm. But obviously, I'd have to see if the farm was ready to be bought. Because if it falls through here, and let's just say it started to attempt flipping a 0. Oh, well, obviously, I would try to see where the best point was. But yeah, in theory, it's never fallen below this trend line since it broke out of here. Even if you go back here, the best I can look at this, yeah, it's had one fallout down to 5 cents. But the rest of the time, it's never, like, it don't matter how you, it's never fallen below there besides that. So that seems to be the bounce point at every step and turn. So if it's coming down, it's either going to come down to this short area, which I don't know, at 15, even though 16, it's hit. Remember that first target we had to hit that at 16.97 that we had from 22 cents. But this is the reality. Like, if it comes below here now, we got 15.38 for that short-term trend that I think is fair because we had the wick, resist, or support, came down, bounced back up, bounced down, bounced back up. But when it held this, it was our springboard. Held it, bounced, fell below, resisted, down, back through. Now it's holding it. So I think that's fair the way it is. So, I mean, it's a real big key for us with IOTA. If it's going to stay at 15, it's going to be hard to bounce from right here, but it's possible. You know, it's building something insanely bad if it continues to go down a little bit farther. You know, they're ugly if they come down farther. Like, the farther down we come here, you know, we might be saying hello crypto winter in the middle of June or July, because usually, or August is probably the bearish month for crypto. I don't care if it's in a bull or bear market. August is never usually pretty on average. I would dare say if you take out all 12 months, August is probably the worst month for crypto. Think about it. Everybody's going away for the summer. Nobody wants to sit inside trading and all this crap. Most of the trading for retail happens when everybody's stuck inside. They get in the gambler's mindset. But right now, you know, tax season is still 5-6 months away. So, you know, most of the real work happens, I always say it, in November, December. And that's because of tax. A lot of it's tax shuffling, you know, or tax harvesting. That the bigger guys know how to do it. We're not going to get into that. That's for a different day. Mark Caston said highest I saw was 385. Yep, see? Okay, Coinbase chart. That's what I was thinking. I think I said Coinbase. Did I say Coinbase? I think I did. Just want to make sure. I think I was saying Coinbase. But yeah, it's interesting that it hasn't hit a high there yet. Let's see. Oliver, in Canada, we call it back bacon or pea meal bacon. Only Americans call it Canadian bacon. As for bacon, we call it bacon. Yeah, why the fuck do we call it Canadian bacon? Why don't we just call it ham? So you guys don't even call it fucking Canadian bacon? What the hell? I think I'm still thinking of my fatter days when I would go to McDonald's as a kid and one of them I got bacon and then all of a sudden I was like, this isn't bacon. It's Canadian bacon. Oh. Where I come from, that's ham. Shaped like bacon. Red, I love it. Yeah, it is red. It is red. XRP Zombie, thank you so much for that added info about it being coin-based. And thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. No, all the world stage, thanks for being in your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. August is not historically a good, it's not historically kind. It is not. Indeed, it is not. All the world stage. Tanya says, don't get greedy, people. Absolutely not. We do not get greedy. We're looking at this in a certain sense. And eventually, here's a good metric to look at. Ready? So, go to xrpfuturemillionaire.com. It's the website that I put together. It's got dedicated servers, live API. It starts out with XRP's market cap with the volume and the information on the side. You can put up whatever you want. So, we're going to go into, let's say, Ethereum, because it's the gatekeeper of alt season, right? So, we'll go to Ethereum. We'll go to crypto just so we don't have to look through every other chart for all this other stuff. Let's just do the crypto chart for Ethereum. So, nah, we can't use that because it's not going to have the volume. I forgot. Some of those, that was this. Some of these, when you do it, because it's just like the whole crypto chart. The hell did I just do? They don't, they won't show you the volume. It's not just on mine. It's actually on TradingView. You can't see the volume. But I want to go to Ethereum and I want to show you something. And this is a great metric. We can do it on Bitcoin too. We can do it on any asset. But it's a great way to kind of look at this. We'll just go here. So, we've got this. So, I know I show you the MACD and all this a lot, but also do this. When you're messing with this, go to the stock RSI. It's the stochastic. Just get the main stochastic RSI. You don't need to do anything else. Just get the stochastic RSI. And if you don't know anything about trading, like if you're looking at this in the monthly, that's not horrible. That's in the neutral area. But when you started to look at this in the weekly, we got into an area where we had to cool off. The weekly is a double top in the stochastic RSI, so it needs to cool off a little bit. That's what this was showing. So that's giving us a clue that we needed to break down here a little bit. Now, whether or not this comes all the way back down, you know, the last time that this did this in the stock RSI, the last time it had a bottom like that, a bottoming formation, it came all the way up and made 195, 200% move. The last time Ethereum double topped like this, and it was a smaller one, you just had the rounding of the top like this is right now, potentially a big rounding of the top. The last time it did this, it fell from 4,000 all the way down to like 1,700. Obviously, no pattern's the same, but every time the stock RSI goes up and double tops like that, it's never good. The last time it had a formation similar to this was back here, and this is around March 23, and it wasn't pretty for most of it. Like the top and back down. Then we had top. Then it came down, but most of it was just little consolidations. But, you know, we'll see what kind of move we have here. That's a rather large move already, and it broke a little bearish here because it came through the trend. And the trend is your friend, even in this case. But I would say even though the weekly looks like that, the monthly still had a lot of room. So that's just one that I would just put on there. Doesn't matter if you do it on my site or not. But I would just pay attention to that indicator, the stock RSI. And it's the stochastic with the relative strength index. And it's a very, 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 very good one. This is meant to scare people. I think people just say that when they don't understand. Guys, listen. You really think that fucking rich people care to shake us out? I don't. I think a lot of the talk is the same market psychology. Oh, these rich sons of bitches. They're trying to shake us out, trying to scare. No, they're sitting through the same thing, so that can't be it. I don't know. I just think there's a lot of psychology that is here, but it's not really here. I understand what you're saying. I do understand what you're saying, to be honest with you. I know it's meant to scare people, but that's not all. I think they want you to just think that, like, oh, I can just buy it 50% higher and it doesn't matter because this is a big shakeout. No. It's more than that. Because you want your dollar to go as far as it can. That's part of it. There's no doubt about it. That is part of it. I will give you credit. That is part of it. But I think a lot more of it is us trying to figure out why they're trying to hold something against us. Yeah, at the end of the day, I think they give us breadcrumbs to try to figure it out. I've taken the philosophy more that they're not trying to beat us down. They just think we're so goddamn stupid that we all believe the stupidest shit and we fight over the dumbest stuff, that they leave us clues, but we're so stupid that we fight over the dumb stuff. It happens all the time in every part of the world. The bots, yeah, the trading bots and algorithms are for real, but they're not dealing with emotion. They're using ours against us. But I want to read this because it actually talked about, where's it at? It talked about the moves from what they locked up in escrow. I can just do that elsewhere, but I thought it was going to make it easier on me, but I guess not. Trading view just when I thought you were going to do me good. I guess not. I guess not. But I wanted to see the escrow. That was one thing I wanted to do. But guys, I wanted to ask you a question. And some people are going to leave. Some people will stay. Some people will enjoy this or not. But listen, what if, what's the easiest way to shut down all these countries, you know, for the propagation of war? Like, just think about this. And I don't want to get banned. But Bitcoin is now being leveraged by some of these big companies all around the world. Other countries are leveraging to buy Bitcoin. They're giving common shares. They're mortgaging their basic, you know, taking out loans and leveraging their actual companies. What happens if Bitcoin, the first time it goes down to 70,000? When all these companies have been leveraging it over 100,000, what happens when the first margin call happens for Bitcoin? I know what a Ponzi scheme looks like. And this is the world's largest Ponzi scheme if I've ever seen one. It's almost like the USA says, we are screwed, we're going down. In fact, we are the creators of Bitcoin, but you're all going down with us by virtue, because we're going to give you an assault like you've never seen to where you actually want to buy Bitcoin. Your companies are going to buy it. We're going to use this dumbass Michael Saylor, who, he's just some, come on. I'm just saying, this is what happens to a Ponzi scheme when it starts to get harder and harder. More and more money needs to be thrown into it. Now we went from having people trading Bitcoin to get around the government, right? Because they didn't want to have government interference, to now having corporations that are buying into it. You have companies that have stock shares and stock holders. They're now making common stocks, which dilutes that stock. You've now got countries buying Bitcoin. I mean, if this doesn't sound like the dumbest thing you've ever heard, I don't know what is. This is one of the biggest houses ever built on quicksand, and it don't matter how beautiful it looks on the way up. If you build that first floor out of sand, and the rest is built out of beautiful cement, that house is gonna fall faster than. It might look pretty for a while as you keep stacking more layers on so people can't see it falling below. But at some point, man, I don't think this is going to be what they're telling us. I'm starting to feel that stronger and stronger in the pit of my stomach. I think the money being made isn't going to be what we think. I think the real money being made is how we did 34 to 350. Or if we buy IOTA, let's just say it goes to 9 cents and then we ride it up to like 70 cents or 90 or 50. I think that's where the real money starts. We made you 4 or 5x these sons of bitches, but you do it at the right times to where now instead of having 3,000, you've got 30,000. Then instead of 30,000, you've got 150,000. Then instead of, and it just goes on and so forth. With all this regulation, I just can't see it anymore. I thought we had until 28 to 32, and far as can't see it for these high numbers. The government's got too much of an overreach now. Now it's asking me to ask you, what's the next big thing? What's the next big thing? Obviously, we have to watch the IoT and ISO and crypto, but what's the next big thing that's going to grasp your attention like crypto did? It's going to become too mainstream, and just a simple overreach. It's just impossible. It's impossible. Unless... Because think about it, if everything collapses, like, maybe it goes up by virtue. Maybe it seems so expensive by US dollar we're looking at it, and it's, let's say XRP is worth $150 a token, right, by US dollars. But the US dollar destabilizes and was like a 50. Right now we're at like 98 on the dollar. If it goes down to 50, let's say, or 30, and it becomes, or 20, it's starting to become worthless. Well, all of our stocks and our crypto are going to become so much more valuable, but that money ain't going to be worth shit. What's it part to? Like, I want to see what all this is worth versus gold. That's why I keep having the peg of Bitcoin versus gold back to 21, because it still hasn't made a new high. And people are like, oh, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Is it? That's the value of your dollar. Yeah, Bitcoin's at 118, or what is it today, 113? But that 113 can't buy you what Bitcoin could at 80 and 21. That's the point. And if you think I'm joking, look how inflation's gone up since even 21. It's insane. It's insane. The prices could even say the same thing. But they're not. It's either the price stayed the same and they took away 30% of your portion. You ever look at a cereal box that stayed the same price, or a bag of chips on the shelf, and somehow they're like 30% smaller, but they're the same price? Or the price became 30% more, but the bag stayed the same, if not got smaller? I think it all connects. I think it all connects. All the world stage. We do have the fix, but I think the ISO and the IoT tokens help with this. That's the whole point of trying to stay ahead. But it doesn't mean it's going to be the way that we think. Do you think they would have told everybody on God's green earth that XRP was going to $10 or 50 or 100 and it couldn't be stopped? Everywhere you were looking, it's like all the promoters finally came back out. You think they were telling you that for no reason? No, they needed exit liquidity. It just becomes so simple now when you start to look at it. Like, they all do the same thing at the same god darn time. Do we realize that? Every single token, bar none. Because even when they're on a rally, like with XDC, I said, listen, 9-7 breaks, it's going to do the same thing as the rest. Now it's on the verge of this rising wedge happening, and then all of a sudden it's going to find itself down at 7.2. Well, if it finds itself at 7.2, well, why not go all the way down here to 5.6? Well, if it comes down to 5.6, you know, why not come down far? And the whole game starts to play over and over and over. It almost got up to the 10.7. I'm not going to split hairs. It got to 10.3. That's close enough. And that's probably where it should have been targeted, because that was the top. You know, where it hit that little cup area. But if it doesn't pan out here and it falls through, we could just be forming the cup more. But this little wedge, this isn't pretty. And it's like there's no exception to the rule. Just because it took a little bit longer, it eventually still pulled down the same way. But now it's getting to a point where it needs to pull back real quickly here. Otherwise, it's going to turn into some turmoil very quickly here. But I believe we get a chance. We always have a chance. You always have a chance. And I believe the technicals, the more I study this over the years, and yeah, I might have more knowledge than most when it comes to the charts, how I've been looking at them every single day since, you know, without a break, since March 24th of 2021 by virtue, because I've been on here every day. So you've seen a chart every single day, which means I've had to look at them every single day without a break. Which means that I have uncovered things that the normal eye won't see. It's given me a level of foresight that I don't think anybody could teach. You know, and it's changed the way that I perceive the market. Like, why am I going to buy in for a long hold if I can see in the short term it's going down 20? I'm not doing it. I am not doing it. But when I start to sense an opportunity, I'm also not going to wait. If I'm like right here, I said to everybody, did I not at 277 or 278, that the likelihood here is that it needs to have we just got to have a little bit of a, you know, this is where we just kind of have a rebound here. It should come up here. I said it was about 4%, 3.5%. If it's got any fortitude here, we should get some kind of relief run here. Remember, we got to get closer to that 292 area because, or 289 when the futures closed on Friday. We got that Chicago Mercantile Exchange we're going to have to not have a gap in. So this seems like the opportunity here, if there was one to have, to where, hey, this could be the opportunity. But understand, if it gets the rejection there, the next target for XRP from a technical perspective is 226. Now, there's some in between. You've got the uptrend here at 265. You've got the FVG at 250. then you've got the technical setup here that says if it breaks down, the technical target's 226. And then you look at it, you're like, well, what the hell am I going to believe? Well, the 226 would get you back into this pattern reset right before it started breaking up in a parabolic sense. You back test it. Maybe you go on your merry way. Maybe you come farther. But I'm telling you right now, if it comes down like that, what does that look like? Does it look like a pattern that's ready to get started or one that's been exhausted? And then what do you do from there? And XRP is notorious for doing these in days. So like it makes that big run up for a few days and then it's like, well, I'll see you in 5 years. So I just know August is never usually good for crypto. September usually is kind of picking up the guts, and then it usually has one more fall through end of September, beginning of November. And then by October, end of October, but by November, we start to pick it up, and in December, we usually have a nice run. I see a lot of it as tax harvesting, repositioning, doing things weird, a lot of transactions. Maybe Christmas bonuses, or people just don't give a rat's ass at the end of the year. They say, I spent $5,000 on old Johnny over there. I'm going to spend some money on myself. So, I don't know. But I do know, I mean, this is the cool part to watch it, because if you watch the technicals, you're like, well, why after all this would he say that we might have a 4% rally here? Well, it's just because that's the back test of the fallout. Usually you get a back test of the fallout right around the 2-hour time frame. No, that's not going to work. Are we already ahead of that? We are a little bit. So we're into the 3. Wow, we are. That death cross is already in the 3. That's fast. So yeah, I could see a back test here where this death cross was happening. And then if it's a fake out, this is the beauty of it. If we get back inside of here, and then let's just say it comes up here and you're like, holy shit. Or you take a shot here and you're like, hey, I'll just play the support here. It's at 273. I'll just put a stop loss underneath. You can do it either way, because at some point there's got to be some kind of bounce. If there's not a pedestrian bounce here, we are in trouble. Because I would even be shocked if there's not some kind of pedestrian bounce here to retest that breakdown. This is where I would expect to see it. So that's what you can go away with. Maybe we'll see some green here, at least for the next 24 hours. Tom, you think this explains the low volume we've had since September or December? Yeah, I do in a way. I think it explains it more. The only reason we had volume in November and December is, guys, let's face it. What if this is the case? We got extremely lucky. We bought in at a good time. Trump was about to become president. He was debating with Kamala Harris. And on both sides of the aisles, they greased the wheels. So basically, they were donating records amount of crypto, remember? We were in the tremendous amounts of donations via crypto. So it didn't matter who won. We had to have a crypto rally. Because you think these people are just donating for the goodness out of the goodness of their hearts? No, they wanted to control what was going to happen next in crypto. So by their way of getting paid back, hey, Mr. Trump, hey, Mrs. Harris, we're going to give you X amount of Ethereum. We're going to give you X amount of XRP. Remember how XRP became the big story? That a lot of these things, Ripple was donating a bunch of money to these candidates. Ripple was donating millions and millions of XRP. Is it a shocker that XRP had the biggest rally when they donated probably the most out of any token to both sides? Think about it. 25 million here, 25 million there. Oh my God, Jed McCaleb's a dick. He did it to Harris. Oh my God, Garlinghouse is a piece of shit. He donated to Trump. Oh my God, Ripple's donating to both. What the hell is going on? They're jerking both sides off. Sorry, the last time I said those, I got banned. But what if that's what this rally was truly about in crypto? The initial rally in December, maybe that's what it was. Well, no, I'm hoping that's not what the whole case is. But now that they got paid back, Brad Garlinghouse, 75 million, Ripple put on for sale. I mean, all these Ripple were being put up by like the executives in the last couple of weeks. Are big institutions buying? It's debatable right now because we can't tell. They're not buying it off the exchanges. They get it at different pricing that we can't see. Remember, it got redacted out in the files with the lawsuit with the SEC. They redacted that part out, so we couldn't see the difference between what exchanges were getting and what institutions were paying, but they're not doing it on the exchanges, unfortunately. No, the big picture is the same still. Don't worry about it. Right now, even we could get a surprise here. There's no doubt about it. This is where I could see a surprise happening. I do think we're in tune for a little bit of a move here. But I gotta go. I gotta make sure my son's good. Julie's laying down. I gotta finish cleaning up from this party. But we did 54 minutes. But I think... Nah, there ain't no big whales buying right now. All the whales right now are buying into Bitcoin. And they're not even really buying into Bitcoin. They're just leveraging their companies. But yeah, the dead cat bounce should at least get 80 or 100% of the money. The dead cat bounce should get us somewhere between 288 and 292. But yeah, you'll start to see, isn't it funny how everything fell at the same time? But now everything, despite how bad it was, is all going to come up at the exact same time. You can't make it up. Every single asset is going to just come up at the same time. You're welcome, Frankie Fresh, and thank you so much for being in towns under 3+ months with the XRP Media. And tell your significant other, hello. I hope I haven't made you disappointed. Hope you're still watching me. I strive to do better. I strive to do better. But it's amazing how this happens. But we'll see. We'll see if we get some kind of good volume flow here. Or anything. Dead cat or not, I think it does have to be pushed up here a tiny bit. At least to that 288 to 292. Otherwise, if we don't get a pedestrian bounce here, guys, it's going to be a problem. Oh, she's watching now. Awesome. You just made my night. Thank you so much. That makes my night. That makes my night. Have a good night to all of you as well. But ladies and gentlemen, you know what we do oftentimes here when things aren't looking so great? That Dow Jones looks terrible. Incoming below. Oops, sorry, my son's falling asleep. But that's an incoming below if I've ever seen it. That looks horrible. Remember what I said? You don't need a financial advisor. They tell you to buy Amazon, Apple, the FANG stocks, Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Google, Alphabet. Any idiot can buy those. Don't pay somebody for that stuff. If you want to buy Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Alphabet, Google, you know, NVIDIA and all that crap, you can do that on your own. But remember, when everything falls, they all fall with it. You know, it looks good when it's all going up, and once they start dropping, ooh, baby. I'm just saying that Dow says, look out below. Look out below. Ladies and gentlemen, I know what time it is. Do you know what time it is? Ladies and gentlemen, the sunny days are here again. Oh, sunny days. Oh, what a day. Oh, sunny days. Oh, what a day. I wear glasses 'cause I can't see a motherfucking thing. Happy days. Oh, happy days. Oh, what a day. Oh, happy days. Oh, what a day. XRP will reign supreme. Let's just not get caught in the FUD. Oh, we're gonna crash and we did and we will and we won't and we may and we will and they say we can't and we will and it'll never go below $3 again and we can and we will and it won't and it will and it will and it can't and it can and it will and it won't and it will. Oh yeah. Stay true. Stay blessed. Let's kick Bitcoin down. I love these. Man, it's really evolved in this one. What the hell is he, Pinocchio or smoking a joint? I can't tell. Man, I'm not sure if that did do it, but hey. Hey. But, some people are like, what the hell am I watching? Well, you've learned to love it. Well, if it makes you feel any better, Tanya, when I first started doing this, when I was doing this in the earlier years, I think it kind of freaked her out a little bit. But I think her daughter likes it, so it's a win for me. Have a blessed one, everybody, and thank you.